portion out that cost to the residents at 80%, is that correct?
Well, there's a note there, what it says they relate to staff time spent on customer interactions for things like high, low usage, system monitoring, and other non-billing customer inquiries. That's why it's higher for AMI. And 80% under any scenario, 80% is to the resident.
Right, that's exactly right. So anyways,
Well, what's the question?
I just wanted to make sure that was accurate because it's a big difference and it's like to resident, it's an $11,000 or $10,400 difference. I just don't know that that service is that important for residents. I haven't heard that. One of my
We have. I mean, we do hear that, particularly from the 15 or so high bills that we get every quarter. We often hear comments from residents of, well, why didn't I know this sooner? Why do I have to wait till I get a bill to know that I'm using excessive water? Why can't you tell me that earlier?
I get that. That's 15 out of our 13,600. So I'm just saying, in general, when you raise tax, when you raise expenses to the resident, and you had to prioritize, would this be what they want? Would this be it?
But if you look at the line above, I mean, I understand that the $10,000 difference in potential customer service labor costs, is certainly something to consider. But if you look at the line above, your annual meter reading costs and billing costs would be reduced by $20,000 by switching to AMI.
No, but between AMR and AMI, it's only $3,000.
I mean, we could do AMR monthly. We could do billing monthly if we did AMR.
I wouldn't recommend that.
So we would only have that kind of time notice for a customer that water was spiking. We would only have that with AMI.
On a monthly basis, yes.
Well, I thought it was like daily.
Oh, daily, right. Yep, I apologize. And just to clarify, I think, and I apologize if we, gave you the intention that a condition of AMI was monthly billing or that was going to be an automatic thing. That was something that was listed simply as a capability. I don't think any of the staff are recommending monthly billing at this point. In fact, I know most of us
Right,
don't
that
want
you
to
should
do
do.
that.
That's what I said in the last committee, that would be the expense.
Right,
More
so,
time. So I just have a question. So in general, the difference is, from what I can take, we save 10% of reduction in water leakage or whatever it may be based on breaks of our own infrastructure, which is about $70,000 a year.
No. We don't save 10%. Currently, we estimate our non-revenue water at 10% of the billed amount on a monthly basis.
And that relates to how much cost we save. I thought it was $70,000.
It's not a cost that we save, it's a cost that we incur.
But if we went to AMI,
We could potentially reduce that. There's no utility in the world that can get to zero. It's something that you consider a cost of doing business. But, we would have under an AMI system, we would have the ability or the potential to reduce that by, a couple to maybe even several percentage points. So if that were the case, then you would be looking at the possibility of savings in non-revenue water reduction at approximately $7,000 per cent.
Right,
on an
and
annual basis.
maybe up to 10%, which would be the 7.
No, so not up to 10%. We have a current non-revenue water loss of 10% now. You cannot reduce it to zero, it's not possible. So perhaps 6, 5, 7.
So say half, so that would be 1 times 7, so 5 times, so 35,000 potentially.
Potentially.
Okay, thank you. And so saying that, that's our savings.
Potential.
But then there's a 10,000 annual cost, and there's these monitoring ones that were included of 16,000. So I just feel, I agree with Trustee Amenta that the cost benefit analysis that what you probably also ran makes sense to start with AMR, and if you have that capability of then going to AMI, I would like to know more information about these antennas. I I'm just not sure we need, the biggest benefit is that 15 customers will be notified that they have a leak, and that we might be able to reduce 10%, whatever that's called, to 5. I mean, that's really our two things. Trustee McKay.
I would like to make a motion that staff be directed to draft a request for proposal for AMI water meter infrastructure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Can we do both? I mean, is there?
You can make an amendment. She said
Why
yes.
don't we just vote on this one and then make a different motion if it fails?
Quick question, didn't the consultant say you could do all of them? I thought
I thought he said he could.
You can do that.
You don't. Right.
It'd be helpful, so then it would identify the antenna, you know, it would give us more data points.
You wouldn't identify the antenna.
Well, at least the type, right? Like you said, so I assume, because you'd have to have a cost, they'd have to say cost for the equipment.
Right. The RFP would not, but the proposal responses, you would. But
Do you want to make an amendment, Trustee Maher?
No.
I'll make an amendment to RFP both systems to get full costs and scope of what the two entail, and then have the board weigh in on which they prefer to go forward with.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion, a second, any further discussion on the amendment?
I just have a quick question. When we say we're going to RFP both of them, would RFPing AMR encompass RFPing AMR with this migratable system? So if we RFP both of them, will we automatically get AMR with migratable, or will we, okay,
we would make sure that that was clarified in there.
okay.
Thank you for clarifying that. Any other discussion? So we have a motion for an amendment and a second. Do you want to reread that?
Yep, to RFP both systems for full cost and scope of what the two systems would entail and to come back to the board to decide.
And both systems with AMR,
And AMI.
including conversion for AMI, whatever word you guys would have. Okay, so we will vote then on the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Two. So motion carries 5-2 on the amendment. Now we will vote on the amended motion. Can I read it?
To direct staff to draft a request for proposal for both AMR and AMI systems for full cost and scope of what the two systems entail with the conversion from AMR possibly to AMI.
Okay, so we have an amended motion to vote on. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is a special order of business to consider the resolution of 2019-04 authorizing 2018 Wilson Drive pedestrian and bicycle facility construction. This will be a motion with a roll call, correct?
I move approval of resolution 2019-04 local road improvement program, Wilson Drive pedestrian and bicycle facility improvements.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Oh, roll call.
Trustee Carpenter.
Aye.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Trustee Bachworth.
Yes.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Menta.
Aye.
Trustee Macher.
Aye.
President Rosick.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Does anyone want to remove anything? I would like to remove 5B,
I'd like to remove G.
5B and 5G. Anybody else? Okay, so we will.
Motion.
Okay, so do I have a? We do. So we are going to vote on the motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of 5B and G. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
carries 7-0. We'll now take up, no, we're now moving into, yes, okay. We're now going to take up 5B, which is,
Oh, do that, we don't put those at the end anymore?
I don't know.
I
think it makes sense.
This way.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, okay.
Thanks, sorry. So I removed the agenda. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes besides myself?
Yeah.
Okay, trustee Hammer?
On top of page 4, there's the motion to move the site. I would add at the top a letter dated January 22nd, 2019 was received from the school board where they requested the village to move the polling place off school grounds. Just to indicate that we did receive a letter requesting that move.
Yes, thank you. Anything else? Trustee Ward, did you?
Oh, no,
Okay, trustee Meyer?
Page 6, under report item 10A, that talks about in the old Ruckus building, maybe the vacant Ruckus building.
Yes. So, that sounds great. On page 3, I just have item number 4A, middle, it says Attorney Bear summarized language. Could we say statutory language about having a polling place in public versus public? And, because you have the mic here, on page 4, it says there was at the top of the page, second paragraph, there was a call to question. Do we know who, I think it was it trustee McKay?
Usually trustee Menta.
Or, I think McKay last time.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
So if we can just know who that was. And then I have a question for trustee Menta. It said there was a discussion about the need to have signs at Lake Bluff. Did you also say and stat, like and a person? I thought you did, but I don't.
No, I said I.
You just said signs? Okay, good. And then under consider traffic signal box public art, an important thing that was noted is to consider whoever owns the art would maintain it. So it should be mentioned or suggested. And my last two would be under page 5, when we talked about the lifeguards. Staff clarified that 3 lifeguards and 1 supervisor is consistent with the past and long-time staffing. And last, under new business, item A, I'm still on page 5. So we talked a lot about evaluation criteria used for our fees, so maybe just the village board, you don't have to say member, but expressed evaluation criteria would be could be evaluation criteria for our fees. It's just going to help a lot. That's all I have. Does anyone have any objections to those? Okay, does anyone have anything further? Seeing none, we will need a motion.
I move to approve the January 22nd, 2019 minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The next item that was pulled from the consent agenda is 5G, which was, okay, trustee Matt.
I went to this last year. I know I'm in the minority and I'm probably going to get a lot of people mad at me in public for saying this, but when I went, it was a big crowd of people and it was a lot of drinking and I went into 3 Lions and the place was packed and people were really hammered and it's not the kind of event that I think really showcases what's best about Shorewood. And I just want to vote no. So I told it just so I could not vote no.
I have a question for the chief. It appears, maybe the director, good evening, Erica. It appears that it's projected to be 5,000 attendees. I think that was last year as well. I think that's a similar number.
Yeah, it's a speculating estimate for the whole day at all locations.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
similar to last year, right, same number? And you had mentioned, I think Chief or one of the staff members mentioned that there was over occupancy in some of the bars. And I did see a response, but I don't know that it was adequate. So did you see the response and did you feel that was adequate of how we would ensure that fire safety codes were, so in other words, overcapacity inside a private.
I'd have to defer to the fire department on that.
Wait,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't believe, and Director Lindsay can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall that being an observation of the police department. For some reason, I believe it was the health department.
It was health.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, it was health. It
Okay.
says, did not have capacity to accommodate the large crowd. I would think it was fire too, though, if it's health and fire kind